Hello again, everybody. Dave Brown and Corey Macklin at ringside, ready to go with another day of USWA Championship Wrestling. Got a good one coming up today.
Oh, we've got a big one. The Harlem Knights. They're going to be in here. Combined weight of 850 pounds. We'll see if the ring can hold the Harlem Knights today. They're going to be in here. Also scheduled today, Rock and Roll Phantom with Bert Prentice is on the card. I had to put up with them today. Hot stuff. Eddie Gilbert, he's going to be here today as well. Brian Christopher and Scotty Flamingo, interesting team. We'll see them, but their opponents, Jeff Jarrett and Nightmare Danny Davis.
Hey, that ought to be a good one. I'll tell you what, last time we had the Harlem Knights here, they did break one of the ropes. Let's hope the ring survives today. You stay with us. We're going to be back. Hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert, coming up. Close to mid-ring right now. We're waiting for hot stuff. Eddie Gilbert going to be headed this way. There he is right there. Eddie Gilbert. Greeting the fans along the way, and he will be headed up to the ring as soon as we get his opponent out here and get this one underway. One fall, 15-minute time limit. Wait a minute. Here's Bert Prentice with a Rock and Roll Phantom. You're not scheduled here. We got a match.
Dave Brown, the reviews are in. According to Variety International, Radio and Records Amusement Business, Beautiful Bert is a smash hit. And today, hot, live and otherwise, on national TV, I'm going to perform a concert for you and my many, many fans.
No, you're not.
Never before in the history of USWA, building managers all over the world say I have to sing at the cards because the crowds are coming up like crazy, coming to see me swivel my hips, and I'm going to do it live here today.
They don't want to see you sing. We've got a match here
special
today.
sound. I've done all this for my fans. This is for you from the bottom of my heart.
Now, what is Prentice doing?
I don't know, Eddie. We got your match scheduled here, and all of a sudden...
Eddie, just a minute. We'll have your match in a minute. Just sit back there. Enjoy the show. For all my fans back home, Maestro, hit it.
Yeah. Eddie Gilbert. Oh, my goodness.
Gee. Oh, boy.
Eddie Gilbert, you'll never interrupt one of my concerts.
Come on, Prentice. You guys get out of there. Well, Bert Prentice and this Rock and Roll Phantom come out and bust Eddie Gilbert with that guitar.
Prentice is over there harassing you. All right, so let's just take a break, get out of here. Here's some help from Eddie. It looks like they got him cut up. Bert, I don't want to hear it. Go to break, please. Jeff Jarrett has arrived in the studio. Word or two with him. He's got a special partner coming up this week in USWA wrestling action. Tell you what, he's had a couple of interesting weeks lately. He wears the Southern Heavyweight title around his waist, and here he is right here, the Southern champion, Jeff Jarrett.
How
Jeff,
you doing, Dave?
doing
Glad
fine.
to be here today. Glad to be here today. We've got a big week coming up. You know, Dave, there's an old saying that goes around the wrestling world. Never, ever say never. Never. Right. And last week out here, I stood out here and I told the people that I have never, ever faced a team as tough as the Moondogs, and that I was ready to take the Harlem Knights on, that they couldn't be as tough as the Moondogs. Well, like I said, never say never, because the Harlem Knights, they are big and they are bad, and one thing that I found out when I stepped in the ring with them is they are immensely strong, and they're very, very tough. But Harlem Knights, I'm not going to roll over and just quit. That isn't what's made inside of me. So this week, boys, I know you're big and bad, and when you grew up in Harlem, you never had to deal with the man. No. You never had to deal with a guy 6'6", 350 pounds, who is full of authority. And Harlem Knights this week, when we get in the ring, I've got a partner. Oh, and I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to talk about the man. Not just the man, the big boss man. He's coming in, boys, and you better get ready.
Well, in the ring right now, you got Ash Masters, who we've seen a time or two before here in USWA action. But today, he is going against the middleweight champion, Danny Davis. This is a non-title match. But, man, what an opportunity for a guy like Ash Masters, who actually is going to have a bit of a weight advantage on Danny Davis as Danny climbs into the ring here. He wears that good-looking middleweight title belt around his waist. New one from the USWA, and Ash Masters would love to have his stock rise as a competitor for any of the belts if he could get a victory over Danny Davis here today. Danny, of course, has to be the favorite. Here's Corey Macklin.
Thank you, Dave Brown. And it would be a nice-sized feather in the cap of Ash Masters if he could get the 1, 2, 3 over Danny Davis. Nightmare standing in with Masters. Reverses and tightens up on the left arm of Ash Masters. And good move from Danny to take him down. Ash Masters stands in and he's complaining he pulled his tights.
What? You hear what he called Frank Morrell? He called him Gramps. Yeah, you better watch it.
Yeah, you better watch
Frank Morrell's tough, let me tell you. He knows his way around a wrestling ring as a wrestler in the past, as well as being an excellent USWA official.
Yeah, and I think PG-13 can vouch to both. Danny Davis bags Masters over to the ropes, and Ash Masters will get a break out of it. Angles up with Danny. Danny Davis tightening up on that left arm of Ash Masters. Davis hanging on and slams down. Big forearm on Ash Masters. Master gets the breaks out of it after over to the ropes there. Steps back in and a boot and a forearm on Danny Davis. Look at Ash Masters. Whips Danny in and an elbow takes him down. Yeah, Ash Masters holding his own, and now look at reversal here from Danny Davis. Big back chop on him. Takes him down from the Nightmare. Danny Davis, the middleweight champion in the USWA, wrestles out of Pensacola, Florida. and he can go, too. This guy can wrestle.
Already an interesting day of USWA action here. We got the middleweight champion going right now, and earlier we had hoped to have Eddie Gilbert in a match, and Bert Prentice and Rock and Roll Phantom came out here insisting they were going to...
ridiculous concert that Prentice puts on.
Sing their song, and they did that lip sync, a poor lip sync at that, I might add, to Achy Breaky Heart. And Eddie, Bert was harassing Eddie over in the corner, and finally Eddie had enough of it and smacked him. And then that guitar there's a cut on Eddie's forehead, I noticed when he left. Yeah. Other than that, he appeared to be okay. But man, what a way to get things started here today. But right now, things going along pretty nicely. Danny Davis pretty much in control, although Ash Masters has equipped himself very well against the champion.
Yeah, Masters is hanging in there, to say the least. Cover from Danny Davis, 2, and Masters kicks out of it at 2. Danny slips around behind Ash Masters and hangs on to that left arm.
The champion pulling double duty today. We're expecting him back a little bit later on as part of a tag team match, which we've got coming up in the main event.
Great bout coming up, too. Stay tuned for that, fans. Stay tuned for USWA Wrestling in its entirety, boy. Hot and rolling, USWA Championship Wrestling. Nightmare Danny Davis and Ash Masters in the ring now. Danny pulls that left leg from under Masters, and goes to work on it, too.
Yeah, putting pressure on that hamstring muscle there. Masters has made good use of the ropes. You know, that's the thing that fans still get irritated about, and understandably, when a wrestler will pull himself under the ropes or put a foot on the ropes, but it's an effective strategy in a wrestling match, especially when you're going somebody as tough as Danny Davis. You can buy yourself some time that way.
Doesn't hurt. And Ash Masters has done just that to hang in there. Oh, quick right jab from Masters, closed fist. Danny! He pulls his hair over there.
Well, hate to see that. I mean, you want to, you sort of like to see the young wrestler advance and have a good match against the champion, but there's never any excuse for that sort of thing.
Oh, no. Masters gets a break again off the ropes. Oh, Masters complaining he pulled his hair.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Ash Masters and Nightmare Danny Davis tangling out. Danny holds on, and Masters again pulls the hair. Pulled his hair. Referee Frank Morrell asking Masters, hey, watch the hair pulling in there. Danny picks him up. Good move from Nightmare Danny Davis.
Masters hit hard on that right side when he hit his back. The shoulder may have taken some additional punishment there.
Yeah, goes under a big clothesline. Danny covers 2, and Ash Masters kicks out. Only 2. Masters hangs in with the middleweight champion, Nightmare Danny Davis. Oh, reversal here. Danny comes off the ropes, sets Masters up. Rolls him over, shoulders down, 2, 3, got him! Nightmare Danny Davis gets the win over Ash Masters. Good win for the Nightmare.
No substitute for that nightmare experience that Danny Davis had. He saw the opportunity. He took the bigger man down to the match, actually using Masters' own weight against him. They'll hold the shoulders down and get the count of 1, 2, 3. USWA action will continue after this. Coming up Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. 7:30 is when it all begins, and get ready for it because the opening match of the night, you got the Master of Terror in there. Master of Terror has caused some problems in the USWA. Going to be going against Hurricane Hatchet in the opening match. Following that, and boy, all of a sudden, this one takes on all kind of significance. Rock and Roll Phantom and Bert Prentice, in effect, were out here interfering in Eddie Gilbert's match. Match never got underway, but Rock and Roll Phantom just pummeled Eddie with that guitar, cut him open, But Eddie's got him in a match Monday night. I don't, surely the Rock and Roll Phantom, I don't know if he even knew that he was booked against Eddie Gilbert, but he better pay attention right now.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you Eddie is going to come looking for him after that little incident with the guitar that happened earlier here today. Big grudge match coming up then is Brian Christopher will be going against the Big Black Dog.
This is a big grudge match.
These guys used to be partners. Just a few days ago they were partners, and now all of a sudden they're going against each other. I'm sure Christopher later on will have something to say about that, probably have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
Another grudge match coming up. Boy, it's going to be a night at the Coliseum in which you, right, that's three in a row.
Yeah.
Got Danny Davis and Frank Morrell going against PG-13, and we'll try to get a little bit more explanation about that for you fans who are not aware of what went on last time around. Southern Title on the line then. Axel Rotten, he was supposed to have been here last week, but got snowed in that blizzard of '93, which pretty well paralyzed the eastern United States. And he's booked again in a Southern Title match against Jeff Jarrett Monday night at the Coliseum. Tag titles on the line. The Moondogs and Richard Lee. They got the belts last time around, but this time they will be going against Brian Christopher, and look who Brian's got as his partner. Scotty Flamingo.
And
Bert
he is
Prentice,
tough.
of course, in the corner. Flamingo is very tough, as is Christopher. And, of course, when you put that shiny chain that Christopher is so famous for wrapping around his hand, there's another element that has to be considered, too. But the Moondogs and Richard Lee are going to be, I'm sure, defending those belts vigorously.
Yeah, don't forget about that metal chair the Moondogs will use in there.
Yeah.
Also.
Can be a bit of an equalizer, too, can it? That's not all, though. Main event of the night. You got Jeff Jarrett, and as he indicated, he has got as his partner, you know him, he's big, he's tough. Big Boss Man will be in the corner with Jeff Jarrett as they go against the very large Harlem Knights. And I thought it was an interesting comment from Jeff. We saw the Harlem Knights. We've seen them a couple of times here, and we have remarked how big they are, 850 pounds, the total weight of these guys. They are huge. But Jeff said he was, I think, a little bit surprised at how strong they are. They're not just big, they are also very strong. So you put all that together, you got the makings of a fine main event, a fine Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. 7:30 is when it all begins. Make your plans to be there. Make your plans to stay right here with us. We got more. We got the Harlem Knights coming up when we return. Stay with us. Now, we promised that the Harlem Knights would be coming up. There they are right there. They are huge. They are headed for the ring right now, and they're going against a couple of guys that they outweigh by, well, they probably weigh twice what their opponents do. Right here. Well, here they come, the Harlem Knights right here. They got a word or two to say.
Dave Brown. First of all, I'd like to say, Jeff Jarrett, you blonde-headed, blue-eyed punk. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You come out here, you talk about being strong. I think last week we proved to you what being strong is all about, boy. If you come down to the Coliseum this week, it's going to be the same thing. Only this time, you're not walking out.
And Big Boss Man, I want to tell you something right now. You're a big WWF star. So what? You're looking at 525 pounds, 325 pounds combined, 850 pounds of hard time. And we're going to show you right now, Big Boss Man.
Well, they head for the ring right now. 850 pounds. We're the Harlem Knights as they step in against Tim Sadler and T.D. Steele. T.D., boy, I've never seen T.D. back up from anybody, but he's at a distinct disadvantage today. Look out. They both jump him over there. Didn't even wait for the bell to sound hardly till they jumped him.
Yeah.
Now they've thrown T.D. out of the ring. They got Tim Sadler in there. The bigger of the Harlem Knights has now stepped out on the apron.
Yeah, TD's out on the floor, and Bobby Knight of the Harlem Knights goes to work on Tim Sadler, and Sadler in the ring. Nelson and Bobby Knight, the Harlem Knights, they're from the bad streets of Harlem, New York. And boy, they cause a lot of racket in the USWA. Total weight of 850 pounds, and these guys are tough, Dave.
They are indeed. Man, they're big. I must have said that 100 times, but it's, to stand next to especially this big guy here.
Oh, look at him just step
awesome.
over the top rope.
Steps over the top rope. Doesn't even think about going between the ropes.
Just like you and me going under the bottom rope.
Yeah.
Nelson Knight just stomps away on Tim Sadler in there, boy.
You know, these guys came into the USWA, and we really didn't know that much about them. Anybody could look at them and see that they were big, but I think they have surprised all of us a little bit with their strength and with their ability to win matches against top-flight opponents.
This guy standing in right there, Nelson Knight, he's 525 pounds. Boy, look at this. Double boot coming at you. Take Sadler down. Bobby Knight choking him there. He's going to break that. Goes at it again. Referee Kevin Christian warning him about the choking. From the bad streets of Harlem, the Harlem Knights. Double teaming on Tim Sadler in there. And haven't let up at all on Sadler, boy. Double forearm on Sadler. Double headbutt to take Sadler down. Sadler trying to get a tag on TD still.
He's just trying to kick Timmy over to the corner there.
Yeah.
Tim's close to the corner. Can he get the tag? TD's reaching for the tag. Boy, there's a sign of bravery right there from TD as he wanted that tag. Here he comes. Look at it.
Oh, here comes TD still. TD standing up to him in there. Boy, I tell you, hate to tell you though, TD, that's 525 pounds, and it's going to be kind of tough to get out of there. TD running in after Nelson Knight. Look at that, would ya? Oh, boy. He stood there and waited on TD still and caught him with a boot. Man, oh, man.
Boy, another surprising move.
Gee, that guy, he can move, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Waiting all he's got in there. Picks TD up and slams him down hard.
You know, with that move right there sort of brings to mind another big guy, Bam Bam Bigelow, who can really move in a wrestling ring even at his size. And, boy, this Nelson Knight, I tell you, look at that, the double drop kick.
Double drop kick, and TD goes down and flips over from that. Boy, 850-pound drop kick coming at you. These guys are rough and tough. Man, you hate to see the kind of stuff they use in there. Slapping and insulting TD still. Now, that's the kind of stuff that puts you out with guys like this. They're big and they're tough, but they have to do all of that kind of stuff to humiliate these guys. Tag on big Nelson Knight in there, and not only is that Nelson Knight big, but he's got a big glove in there, Dave, that's loaded. Comes in with a splash on steel.
My goodness. Now you got Tim Sadler in there. They got them both in. One working on TD, one working on Tim Sadler.
First neck breaker and DDT on Steele and Sadler. Boy. And this kind of stuff. Now, the Harlem Knights have just dominated the whole bout in there and get the win and head out of here. All of this extra stuff. Nelson Knight standing over Steele and Sadler. Got both of them covered. 525 pounds, and look at him there. Just roll all over TD Steele and Tim Sadler.
And an incredibly powerful team here in the Harlem Knights. And a team of TD Steele and Tim Sadler, although at the beginning of the match we thought they might, they never had a chance. We'll be back with more USWA action. Here, let me get Jeff Jarrett back out of here. Got a comment or two, and here he comes, right here. Jeff Jarrett. youngsters want to say hi to Jeff Jarrett. And Jeff, welcome.
Oh, well, Dave, Monday night's going to be double duty.
Man, I know it.
First match, Axel Rotten.
With the belt at stake.
Exactly right. The belt's going to be at stake. And Axel Rotten, I know that you hadn't been around this area, and I know for one thing, you don't know how hard I've worked to become the Southern Heavyweight Champion. But Monday night, you're going to find out what Jeff Jarrett's all about, because I'm going to do everything I can to hold on to this belt. And like you said, I've heard he was snowed in the blizzard of '93. And I'm sure he was stuck in some motel room, and he had 3 or 4 days, and I'm sure he's got a bad case of cabin fever, and he's ready to take some frustration out. Well, come on down Monday night, and you're going to find out what Jeff Jarrett and the USWA fans are all about. And now for the big match.
Yeah, the tag team match.
Dave, I just sat back there in the back and watched the monitor, and I've seen a lot of wrestlers. I've watched wrestling my entire life, and I have never ever seen a wrestler over 500 pounds drop kick like that guy did. He comes off the top rope. They do moves that I've never seen guys 175 pounds do, much less. One of them weighs 325 and the other one
525.
That's an awful big tag team. But Harlem Nights, you're in my backyard. You're coming to Memphis, Tennessee, and you're going to be at the Mid-South Coliseum. And I'm not going to go down there with my tail between my legs, because I know one thing. I've got one heck of a partner in the Big Boss Man. And he has whipped tail from one end of the world to the other. And he has held titles in the WWF, and he knows how to get the job done. So he's going to bring his nightstick, I'm sure, and he's going to come down, and you're going to find out what hard time's all about. And you're going to respect the man, the Big Boss Man, after Monday night. And Harlem Nights, you just get ready. Those two guys, yeah, they're a little inexperienced, but Monday night it's going to be the Big Boss Man and Jeff Jarrett. And you guys, I promise you one thing, you got your work cut out as well as us. And I know one thing, Dave, I can't wait. The USWA fans are ready. I can't wait. Axel Rotten, you show up. Give it your best shot.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. 2 tough matches coming up for him. But he'll be there, and he'll be in both of them, let me tell you that. Corey, we got lots of action coming up in the USWA this week.
Yeah, we do, Dave. Starting Thursday, March 25th, Henderson, Tennessee. 7:30 bell time in Henderson at the National Guard Armory. Big night, honky-tonk man to be there. Moondogs, Dirty Dutch Mantel, Brian Christopher, ladies match, Big Black Dog, all in Henderson, Tennessee. That's coming up Thursday night, bell time, 7:30 in Henderson at the National Guard Armory. Also, same night in Brinkley, Arkansas, Thursday night, March 25th in Brinkley. There at the Brinkley High School, you'll see Jeff Jarrett on that card. Scotty Flamingo, PG-13, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Miss Texas, all in Brinkley, Arkansas, coming up as well on Thursday night, March 25th, 7:30 bell time there at the high school in Brinkley. Friday night, March 26th, Ecru, Mississippi, North Pontiac High School. Honky Tonk Man's on the card. Brian Christopher is on the card as well. The Moondogs, Dutch Mantel, Nightmare Danny Davis is going to be there as well. You see all of them. Ladies match, Master Terra, big lineup in Ecru, Mississippi, North Pontiac High School coming up Friday night, 7:30 bell time there at the high school. Same night, Brighton, Tennessee, at the Brighton Gym. USWA Championship Wrestling in Brighton at the gymnasium there. Jeff Jarrett, PG-13, Scotty Flamingo, Miss Texas, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, all in Brighton, Tennessee at the Brighton Gym. Saturday, March 27th, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Big spring special in Jonesboro. The King, Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett, Honky Tonk Man, Brian Christopher, Dutch Mantel, PG-13, Eddie Gilbert, all in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That's coming up Saturday, March 27th, next Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. You know, spring has been here officially 2 hours now.
Yeah,
exactly
today,
2 hours, and a big spring special coming up in Jonesboro. Time just right.
Yes, sir. Next Saturday in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Friday, April 2nd, Terrell, Arkansas at the high school. Jerry Lawler, Eddie Gilbert, Miss Texas. Big Harlem Nights on the card in Terrell as well. PG-13, Nightmare Danny Davis is going to be there as well in Terrell, Arkansas. Speaking of Danny Davis, here he is with the promoter Eddie Marlin. You know.
Yeah, got a few comments. Come on in, guys. Talk about some of the action coming up here.
You know, spring's hit now. We've
That's
got
right.
people all over the area here excited about the wrestler coming to that town. And we have got quite a lineup. Coming up this week, we got Brinkley, Arkansas. We got Brighton, Tennessee. And, of course, next Saturday night is Jonesboro.
Right.
Danny Davis is going to be at a couple of towns, Henderson, Tennessee.
Right.
Ecru, Mississippi.
That's right.
And it's just, you know, spring's in there, and it's all fired up, and everybody's ready to go. And we got Osceola coming up in a few days.
Right.
And one special thing, Dave, down in Oxford, Mississippi.
Oh, yes.
You know, we've had a lot of great crowds down in Oxford at Ted Smith Coliseum down there. But April the 15th, I believe it is, it'll be the biggest thing that's ever happened to Oxford, bar none. It'll be a lot more said about that a little later.
Okay.
But just mark on your calendar, Oxford, Mississippi, and just look out. Things will happen.
All right. Very good.
USWA is on tour. We're all fired up. Action's hot and heavy. Henderson, Tennessee, Brinkley, Arkansas, Ecru, Mississippi, Osceola, all over. The USWA, Jonesboro's coming your way. I'm going to have my middleweight title, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the fans.
All right.
But look
All
out,
right.
Oxford.
Look out, Oxford. Yeah, and you know, the Ole Miss students have really been great. They come out and have a great night there. So Oxford, Mississippi, and as Eddie said, details coming up later. Sorry, go ahead there, Corey.
Yeah, Turl, Arkansas, as we said, Friday, April 2nd in Turl, 7:30 there at the Turl High School. Also, same night, Friday, April 2nd, Smithville, Mississippi there at the high school. Moondogs, Jeff Jarrett, Brian Christopher. Also, Big Black Dog, King Cobra on the card. Ladies match, all in Smithville. Also, Thursday, April 8th, Hayti, Missouri, at the Hayti High School. You'll see the King, Jerry Lawler, Moondogs, Honky Tonk Man, Danny Davis, Brian Christopher boxing match in Hayti. Osceola, Arkansas, as they mentioned earlier. Going to be an Easter extravaganza over in Osceola. It's an Easter egg extravaganza. It's the Friday before Easter. We'll be telling you more about that as time goes. And Oxford, Mississippi, as Eddie Marlin said. And the big announcement that Eddie is referring to is just signed for Oxford at the Tad Smith Coliseum, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Wow.
He's going to be in Oxford, Mississippi. Yeah, tickets are available at the Coliseum now, or from any Lions Club member right there in Oxford, Mississippi. Mark that date down. All our championship wrestling fans over in Oxford. It's going to be April 15th, Oxford, Mississippi, there at Tad Smith Coliseum. Also, Paragould, Arkansas, and Carruthersville, Missouri coming soon. USWA Wrestling on tour. And next Saturday, I'm going to be out at McLean Motors on Elvis Presley Boulevard, 1505 Elvis Presley, next Saturday from 12 until 1. Going to have a lot of great tickets for fans and that type of thing out at McLean Motors next Saturday.
Okay, very good. Lots of action coming up. We had some action here just a few days ago. Danny Davis mentioned the middleweight belt, which he has, and he had to defend it a few days ago against Wolfie D from the team PG-13.
Yeah.
Take a look at just a few of the highlights of that match.
His feet. Oh! He goes for that kick. Danny gets out of the way, rolls him over, covers him. 2, and JCI jumps in with that uppercut. Boy, they beat Danny some kind of bad last week with that thing. Referee Frank Morrell grabs JCI and pulls him off of Danny. That's the same thing to Wolfie D. Boy, these guys, ridiculous with that kind of stuff. Past 10 minutes at 10:43 in the middleweight title bout. Look at Frank Morrell clear him out of there, though. Frank trying to get JCI and Wolfie D off of Danny Davis. Caught him with a bell, and JCI covers referee Frank Morrell. Whoa! Look at Frank, though. Comes back with a right over the nose. Frank Morrell. Fighting back is Frank in there. And JCI and Sir Wolfie D jump on Frank Morrell and Danny Davis. Oh, but look at Frank. Frank Morrell.
We'll talk to Frank Morrell and Danny Davis about that situation when we come back. Right there, Frank Morrell and Danny the middleweight champion of the USWA. And Frank Morrell, you know him as a fine referee, also very rugged wrestler, and you're involved in more than just being an official right now, Frank.
Well, Dave, you know it's been 5 years since I retired from wrestling. But before I stand back and let two punks like PG-13 do to me what they tried to do, that's the day I'll get out of wrestling completely, quit refereeing, won't even go to the ring. Now, Danny, I'd like to thank you personal for letting me be your partner on this. I know that you don't need nobody with two guys like them two punks.
No, you're the guy who don't need a partner against PG-13. I'm just glad that I had a referee with a good sense on, in his mind to know that when two guys are jumping on one, to take the initiative to pull one guy off. You did everything you could, and I respect you as a man and as a referee. I'm going to tell you something, PG-13. You've been beating up on me with a hubcap for the past couple of weeks. So let me tell you something. When you laid your hands on this man right here, all you done is bring out the devil in this man. Because, friends, let me tell you something. He don't like you, he don't like your attitude, and he sure don't like your hubcap. And I can promise you this week when we step in the ring with you, he's not going to be a referee. He's going to be the old Frank Morrell, the wrestler that you guys probably have forgotten about. Well, after this week, you're going to know who Frank Morrell was, and surely enough, you're going to know who Danny Davis is. And I'm going to still have this team.
What he's trying to tell you, I think you bit off a little bit more than you can chew this time.
That's right. All right.
We'll find out about it this week. Danny Davis, Frank Morrell, they're going to be partners. And any of you wrestling fans that remember Frank Morrell, like when he was a partner, for instance, with Phil Hickerson in some of the wrestling matches, my goodness gracious, don't have to say too much more than that. You can get in there and go with the best of them. Standing in the ring right now, got Todd Johnson, who is waiting for, oh, here he comes, Rock and Roll Phantom. He's got him a new guitar. Oh, no, he doesn't. He has the same old one. It's busted up in the back there from where he hit Eddie Gilbert earlier. Bert Prentice out here at ringside with him. And referee Frank Morrell says, ring the bell. Let's get this one underway. And we are set to go right now.
We are Rock and Roll Phantom. Tangles up. Todd Johnson in there. Oh. Todd Johnson right in the chest with an open hand and slams him right into the turnbuckle. Rock and Roll Phantom comes in out of Shreveport, Louisiana, and made a lot of noise in the USWA since he's been here with Bert Prentice in his corner and all of those wacky concerts and all they got going in there. Elbow flips Todd Johnson over. And Rock and Roll Phantom goes to work on him. Oh, Johnson tried to come back and punched it. Boy, did not even stagger the big guy. And Phantom picks him up, slammed him down hard. Right jab from the Rock and Roll Phantom.
A number one hit. Yeah, you're sort of right about that, Bert Prentice. That's the first hit of the day, but expect more from the Rock and Roll Phantom.
Ooh, boy. Sent Todd Johnson way up in the air and down with a big backflip.
You can't hear Bert Prentice, I don't think, over here talking about rock and roll and how he can dance and how he can sing.
Yeah. The imitation of Achy Breaky Heart and all that stuff.
And he didn't mention the way he can interfere, too. And look at this.
Ah, look at Prentice over there. Not only can he dance, but he can interfere in the bouts over there, too. Just stay out of it, Prentice.
I didn't touch him.
Todd Johnson's going to get a break out of it. Rock and Roll Phantom working Johnson over. Todd gets over to the ropes, but doesn't get a break out of it. Phantom slams him right into the turnbuckles. Over choking Todd Johnson. Gonna have to break that. Todd gets a break out of it. As a Rock and Roll Phantom doesn't let up on Todd Johnson in there.
Rock and Roll Phantom's going to outweigh Todd Johnson about 2 or 3 to 1. That's the second match today. We've seen that situation with the Harlem Knights in here against their opponents earlier. Todd Johnson, a young wrestler, and he is just really going to have to battle hard and take advantage of any mistake that Rock and Roll Phantom makes. Unfortunately for Todd, Rock and Roll Phantom so far has not made any mistakes.
Rock and Roll Phantom slams down on Todd Johnson, whips him into the ropes, and takes him down hard. Big forearm on him. He's got Todd Johnson covered over here. Oh, boy! Well, look out! Here comes hot stuff Eddie Gilbert. Oh, boy! Eddie pulled out the fire to burn the Rock and Roll Phantom, but caught Todd Johnson with it. And takes that guitar and runs the Rock and Roll Phantom out of there. But, boy, we got to check on Todd.
The fire missed. That was meant for Rock and Roll Phantom there, Eddie.
Dave, I've been sitting back there, and my day hasn't gone too well. I didn't start out on the right side. It's not going too well at all. First off, the first thing I want to say here today is that I am the stepchild of the USWA. I see everybody else out here with their belts, and they look nice and pretty and everything. But when I got in wrestling, I've been at 15 years now, I don't do it. I'm not a preliminary wrestler. I've been in a long time. So whenever the USWA wants to put me down on the wrestling cards, think again. Because I'm not a first match boy. I'm not a second match boy. I'm a main event wrestler. Understand that first and foremost. I've worked too hard and too long. Bert Prentice, you and the Rock and Roll Phantom, if the USWA wants to look at me for title matches from here on out, do it. Because I've heard it said before, and I'm going to say it again. You mess around with fire, brother, and you're going to get burned. And one promise to you, Bert, and you, Rock and Roll Phantom, I want to see who the Rock and Roll Phantom is. And instead of just lighting one of you up, I'm going to get 2 targets this week.
Eddie Gilbert, not happy, and understandably so after some of the things that have happened to him right here today. We'll be back with more USWA action in just a moment. Famous wrestling arena was the place last week. Brian Christopher and Big Black Dog trying to be the USWA World Tag Team Champions. It didn't work out well for Mr. Christopher and Big Black Dog. Watch this.
He's griping at Christopher about nailing him with the bone. Yeah, he's telling Christopher, you hit me with the bone is what Black Dog is trying to say in there. Ooh, Christopher shoves Big Black Dog. He's mad and upset because Black Dog got pinned. That's what he's telling Amy. You got counted 1, 2, 3. Ooh, Christopher with his finger right in the face of Black Dog. Ooh, boy, Black Dog pulls back to nail Christopher and Prentice. They try to calm down that Big Black Dog in there now. Christopher saying, yeah, hold it, cool down, wait just a minute. And Black Dog not listening to Christopher too quickly in there. Christopher putting his hand out for Black Dog to shake his hand. Black Dog shakes his hand in there. 6 minutes and 20 seconds, the Moondogs get the win. And they will gain the USWA World Tag Team. Christopher jumps on the Big Black Dog over there. Boy, Black Dog shook the hand of Christopher. But look at Christopher. He picks the chair up, slamming away on Big Black Dog. And the Moondogs come out to help Black Dog in there.
Headed this way right now, Brian Christopher and a new partner. Brian with some partner trouble in the last few days. Bert Prentice along with him, too. Brian here with Scotty Flamingo, and Brian's all smiles. I don't understand.
Look at these heavenly bodies. This is what the whole wrestling world is talking about. Nowhere in the world is there a more dangerous combination than Scotty and Brian. Look at this.
I see
Wonderful.
Brian Christopher and Scotty Flamingo.
You know, Dave Brown, some people never cease to amaze me. You know, I bring in this big slug, the Big Black Dog. He was ugly, wasn't he? Because I think that he could do me a favor. I think that he could help me in some way. But he can't do jack. He can't do nothing, you understand? It looks like I have to do everything by myself. That's why I went out and I found me a real partner. Not a big slug like the Big Black Dog. He should not even breathe the same air as somebody like myself, you know? The Big Black Dog is nothing but a worthless piece of trash. And after this week, he'll be out of here and sitting in a trash can somewhere. And now, Dave Brown, I want to introduce to you somebody. Scotty, has anybody told you how good you look today?
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, they have, but it doesn't mean as much unless it's coming from Brian Christopher.
Exactly.
You know, Brian Christopher is the premier athlete in the USWA. You You know, he's much more talented than that Peter Frampton-looking Jeff Jarrett or that Queen Jerry Lawler. He is the man. And I'll tell you what, Moondogs, we're going to take the Moondogs title now. And I'll tell you about those Moondogs. They're not famous. They're not good. They're very unkempt. You see, Scotty Flamingo, a big star. Get a little closer. I am
You see
on
that? The front page right there.
on the cover of Scotty Flamingo of a national publication wrestling magazine.
That's
Do you
right.
see the Moondogs anywhere? No.
Hey, where am I in there?
What?
I'm in there, ain't
Let's see. Hold on.
7 pages.
I? I'm in there.
Big story.
That is a dumb magazine anyway. Anyway, I'll tell you what,
I'm not in there?
brother, it's a dumb magazine. You should have been in there, brother. It had to be an oversight because you are the number one wrestler in the USWA. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to loving ladies, Tom Cruise don't know a thing. And compared to RRQ, Einstein's a ding-a-ling. They don't see my smile, they see it in my eyes, they see this body. They say I'm so fly. They say it up sweet, like a vintage champagne. And they want to kiss me all over. Like a big candy cane. I'll tell you what, Brian, you know what now? Now we got us a big match now. Let's hit to the ring and let's beat up some people just to prepare for the Moondogs.
That's right. Moondogs, watch this, because we're about to make an example out of Jeffrey Jarrett and the Nightmare Danny Davis. This is what's going to happen to you two punks. We're taking your belts, baby.
Brian Christopher, Scotty Flamingo with Bert Prentice. I'm sure you're going to be in their corner here at ringside. They do head for the ring, and they're right. They've got Jeff Jarrett coming in here. Are they going to make an example out of him? I don't know about that. That remains to be seen because he has Danny Davis in his corner. This one should be a good one. Tag team action, main event action on the USWA right here today.
Yeah, not only is only the USWA, but almost anywhere around. A great bout. Jeff Jarrett and Danny Davis against Brian Christopher and Scotty Flamingo. This one worth the price of admission anyway, let me tell you.
Jeff, holder of the Southern Heavyweight belt. Danny Davis, holder of the USWA Middleweight belt. Couple of champions in there. Non-title match, of course. This is tag team action. Those are both single belts. Scotty Flamingo, he has quite a reputation. There's no doubt about it. And Brian Christopher has made his own reputation. You know him well, especially from the way he's been out here running that mouth ever since he decided to go as a single wrestler some time ago when he broke up his team called the New Kids. All right, well, the Mutual Admiration Society continues over in the corner. Scotty says, you start. You should start. And Brian says, no, you should. Oh, okay, we're going to odd man out here.
What are you doing?
What to do? Paper, scissors, and all that sort of thing. Referee finally tires of all of that and said, ring the bell. Here we go. Danny Davis starts against Brian Christopher. He got some talent in the wrestling ring here today, fans. Here we go with expiration of time action.
We're underway with it. At ringside, USWA wrestling action to the expiration of time. This should be a good one. Christopher and Flamingo against Jarrett and Davis. We're underway. Nightmare Danny Davis sends in and
Oh, look at Christopher over there insulting Jeff Jarrett on the way by, and that goofy little laugh. The master of distraction. I tell you what, he can distract anybody, at least for a while.
oh yeah.
But, well, apparently not distracting Danny Davis too much, who pushes him right back in the corner, pulls that right hand back, but then thinks better of it. He did not hit him with a fist. Referee says, hey, Danny, don't use the fist. And Danny says, you saw I did not use it that time. Christopher, look at this.
Yeah, backs Danny Davis up against the turnbuckles. Christopher draws back to give him a clean break. And nails it. Boy, let me tell you. Reversal here, though. Oh, Christopher hangs on and jumps over the top rope. Oh, yeah, he and Flamingo celebrating there after Danny Davis whipped him into the turnbuckle, and Christopher hanged on, flipped over, and went outside on the apron there.
Danny Davis just kind of watching all of this. I mean, Danny's a veteran. He's been all over the world. The Nightmare.
Yeah.
He's seen them all, including Brian Christopher. And here's Scotty Flamingo.
Scotty Flamingo tangling up a Nightmare Danny Davis. Davis whips him in. Flamingo goes under, comes back. Ah, look at this.
Celebration again over in the corner with Brian Christopher, Scotty Flamingo. You would think they had just won the world tag titles the way they're celebrating here, and the match is still going on.
Yeah, just one good move, and boy, these guys are eating it up, too.
Jeff and Danny are kind of watching them like, what's with these guys here? They got a match, and they're not paying attention.
Flamingo backs Davis up against the turnbuckles. Oh, big shoulder on Nightmare Danny Davis.
That corner has not been kind to Danny Davis as he's been sabotaged by both Scotty Flamingo and Brian Christopher. All right, Scotty leaps over the rope, and now they celebrate again.
No, he's not embarrassed.
He's not embarrassed. Brian is claiming that embarrasses Danny Davis. That doesn't embarrass him at all. He's just standing there in amazement, wondering why you guys don't just climb back in here. They're so great, says Bert. Well, I've seen some great wrestling teams in my time in this business, let me tell you. One match doesn't make a great team. You got to prove yourself in the ring, and so far, you haven't done it.
No, they hadn't. Because there's been tagging in and out and running in and out for Christopher Flamingo. Tag again, and Christopher comes off the ropes on Danny's arm. Twisting that left arm of Nightmare Danny Davis. Slams down with a big elbow on Danny. Tags Flamingo. Scotty Flamingo comes in. Pulls the hair of Danny Davis after complaining that Danny pulled his hair. Danny whips him in. Flamingo goes over both of them again, and that comes back and
Oh, my goodness. Why? I thought Danny had him outsmarted that time. Hey, he did. Look at that. Let him celebrate and then crunch those noggins together.
Double drop kick from Jarrett and Davis. And there's Flamingo out on a concrete floor. Wondering what in the world is going on.
Now it's frustration, not celebration. In the corner of Brian Christopher and Scotty Flamingo. They're wondering around what happened. It's like there was a buzzsaw in here. Went to work on the team. Greatest team ever, huh, Bert? Yeah, he said.
Yes. Man, shouldn't cry, baby, yeah.
Crybaby. Crybaby is what the crowd is yelling.
Christopher attacks Flamingo. And Flamingo
look out.
hangs on to Danny Davis.
Oh,
look at that. Christopher goes flying over the top rope. Flamingo goes over, and it hadn't been a good day at all for Flamingo and Christopher as a team.
They both went over the top rope. Brian Christopher's momentum carried him over, and then I think Scotty Flamingo just pretty well flipped himself over the top rope. But you watch Christopher get in there and try to claim that he was thrown over the top rope. Now, if you throw your opponent over the top rope, that's a disqualification right there. That did not happen there.
No, it didn't. Oh, you won't.
That's it. Now I'm mad.
Oh, boy.
He's mad, fans. Brian Christopher, an angry Brian Christopher, steps back in the ring against Danny Davis. Did you hear what Bert Prentice was yelling?
What was that?
He was yelling, he threw him over the top rope.
I thought
Disqualified. No, it didn't happen that way, fans. You saw it. Look at this. Oh, Brian hanging in the corner. Say, wait a minute, I'm in the corner. You can't touch me. I'm in the corner.
Yeah, but he's got his rear end.
Right. In a dangerous place.
Yeah, he's got his rear end, giving Jeff Jarrett a good view of it in there. Jeff wanted to nail him in there. Man.
Well,
That's crybaby on Brian Christopher.
Had to be tempting for Jeff to take a shot at Brian Christopher over in the corner, but he didn't do it. There's an example of the type wrestler and the type champion that Jeff Jarrett is. He does not take the shortcut. Brian Christopher now. Complaints continue. Well, we're not going to tell them anything. They're here, they're fans.
That's right.
They can cheer for whoever they want, and obviously they do not want to cheer for Brian Christopher and Scotty Flamingo.
Christopher, back step up. Look at Prentice holding on to his tights there. Yeah, there's the hand of Bert Prentice, and Jeff Jarrett gets out of there, and look at Bert Prentice over here now.
Bert's hiding behind Scotty Flamingo.
Flamingo with his fist balled up.
Now Jeff is telling the referee what Prentice was doing. And unfortunately, the referee didn't see it. So, of course, when he asked Bert Prentice, did you do that, Bert? I would never do that, referee. Never would he do that. Of course not. And I got Jeff back into the ropes again. And look at that. Bert Prentice holding him back on the rope.
Yeah, doing it again in there. Flamingo jumps down and tries to corner Jarrett. And look at Prentice there. Behind Flamingo, fist balling on now. He wants to fight. Jeff hanging on to the tights of Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff turning to the crowd for support, and of course the crowd backs him up. Bert said, I was over here the whole time, says Bert. Boy, I tell you what. I'm not sure Bert would even recognize the truth if he saw it. He certainly is not making very good use of it here today.
And he tells us he's never told a lie.
He's holding him again. Look at it. You see it right there, right in front of the camera. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, boy. And Jeff Jarrett is fed up with him, and I don't blame him. Yeah, Jeff said, hey,
that is the third
time he's done that. Oh, watch yourself, Jeff.
Oh, look out behind. Jeff nailed by Brian Christopher sneaking up behind him down here on the floor. Now Bert Prentice is holding Jeff up. Christopher runs into Bert Prentice. Jeff moves out of the way.
He clobbered Prentice in there and set Bert Prentice down.
Little high-fiving going on in the ring between Jeff Jarrett and Danny Davis as they celebrate. And boy, they deserve to celebrate after what they've had to put up with here today against Brian Christopher, Scotty Flamingo, and Bert Prentice holding the tights from outside. Referee counting him back in the ring. The count's at 7. Brian Christopher stepped through the ropes, and the action continued. Bert Prentice holding that jaw where his own man, Brian Christopher, ran into him full speed ahead.
He busted Prentice, boy.
Danny Davis trying to get the cheers started, and he does. Go, Jeff, go against Scotty Flamingo. What a main event we got going here today.
Flamingo and Jarrett tangling up. Jeff hanging on to Flamingo. Goes down, though. Flamingo pulled his hair. Yeah. Pulled the hair of Jeff Jarrett and pulled him right down to the mat. Scotty Flamingo pulls his hair again. Boy, here comes Christopher, no tag. Jumps down on the arm of Jeff Jarrett.
And a referee says, hey, did you guys tag? Flamingo says, yeah, oh yeah, it was a good legal tag. And the fan says, nope, no tag. And as Corey just told you, there was no tag.
Oh, no.
All right, look out. Prentice wandering down the apron down there again. Now, referee is trying to get Danny back in his corner. He does. Prentice is still down toward the neutral corner where he should not be. And again, there was no tag, I don't believe, Corey.
No, I didn't see a tag in there.
They just exchanged.
Oh, look at Jeff Jarrett. He grabs that left arm of Flamingo, goes to work on it, tags Danny Davis. Nightmare Danny comes in, slamming away on Flamingo. And Scotty Flamingo rakes the eyes of Danny Davis. Reversal here, though. Danny whips him in. Big hip toss. Takes Flamingo down. And, oh boy, bad position for Danny. Flamingo and Christopher double teaming Nightmare Danny Davis.
Danny blocked him and rammed Brian Christopher's head into the turnbuckle. Oh, look out, Danny into the ropes. Look at this reversal. He's around behind him.
Yeah,
Can he get it down? Shoulders are down. No, Scotty Flamingo.
Thought Danny would have had him. He won with that same move earlier here today. Wouldn't work on Christopher, though, and Christopher and Flamingo, Jarrett and Davis all in the ring. Look at this. Flamingo goes down. Danny Davis going to work on Scotty Flamingo over in the corner. Nailing away on Flamingo, and look at Prentice. He pulled Danny Davis's boot, and he's holding on to him over there.
Referee doesn't see it.
He didn't see it. They got the 1, 2, 3. There's Prentice. He hightails it out. They get the win, yeah.
Prentice was hiding and holding on to the boot of Danny Davis. The referee couldn't see it. He counted to 3. This one is over, and Prentice with a big assist gets the victory for Scotty Flamingo and Brian Christopher. They're celebrating. Jeff and Danny trying to explain to the referee what's happening. He's going to go check.
Yeah.
We are too. We'll be back after this. It's going to be a big one at the Mid-South Coliseum. We thought so when we saw the card in the beginning, and especially when you have a guy like Big Boss Man coming in here, big WWF wrestler that I think all the wrestling fans are familiar with. He is going to be here, but listen to some of the other things that are going on, and after a couple of things that have happened today, especially involving Eddie Gilbert, a couple of the matches take on even more significance. Opening match. 7:30 is when it all starts. Be there on time. Hurricane Hatchet will be going against the Master of Terror in the opener. Eddie Gilbert then going against the Rock and Roll Phantom. And this one's not listed as a grudge match, but after today, I think it could be, because Rock and Roll Phantom smacked Eddie with that guitar after Eddie got sick and tired of watching the lip sync, the performance, as Bert Prentice calls it, of his song out here a little bit earlier today. Rock and Roll Phantom smacked him with that guitar, cut him open. And Eddie came back looking for him. Fire was flying here for a while, but it did not hit Rock and Roll Phantom. Eddie has indicated that maybe a different situation the next time they face, and that'll be Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Eddie is also not happy that the match is the second match on the card. He said he's a main event wrestler, and he doesn't like having to. He didn't say waste his time, but that's kind of what he implied with people like the Rock and Roll Phantom. And I think for that reason he will be looking for the Phantom there.
Rock and Roll Phantom better look out for all of those above.
He had indeed. Then grudge match, got a couple of them on the card. Brian Christopher against Big Black Dog. Brian talked a little bit about this. I think you saw from the videotape we saw. What happened was, of course, that the Moondogs won the match. They won the title, and Brian Christopher very unhappy with his partner, Big Black Dog. From indications at the end of the match, they shook hands and everything was settled, and then Brian glommed him as he was going out of the ring and was jumping up and down on him and all of that. So it's going to be a grudge match as Brian steps in against his former partner Monday night. Another grudge match, Danny Davis and Frank Morrell. They talked about this one against PG-13. Frank Morrell says, yeah, I'm a referee, but there is no way in the world I'm going to let happen what happened last week in that match when Danny was going for the middleweight title. So as a result, he said, I can't do it as a referee. I'm going to step into the match as the partner of Danny Davis. So it will be Danny Davis and Frank Morrell, the tag team, going against PG-13.
Good about that, too.
Southern title will be on the line. Axel Rotten. Last week he was booked, couldn't make it. He was snowed in the eastern United States after 1 to 3 feet of snow fell in many places. Virtually every airport in the eastern United States east of Nashville was closed last week, and Axel Rotten was not able to be here, but the match has been signed for this week. It's been moved to this week. Southern title on the line. Jeff's been defending that belt, and he will do so again Monday night against Big Axel Rotten, coming in from WCW and Global. I think a lot of fans are familiar with him from that. Tag titles on the line. And Corey, last week they had the Barbers there, right?
Yeah, last week they had the Barbers there from the Perfect Cut, a Perfect Cut, formerly Harold Sale over on Raleigh LaGrange and Sycamore View. And they were there. There was not a haircutting because the Moondogs came up with the titles, but the people from a Perfect Cut over on Raleigh LaGrange were there. And if all of our fans get their haircut over there, you get free wrestling tickets now for the matches.
And maybe see this great action coming up with the tag titles at stake this week. No haircuts at stake this week, but Brian Christopher and his new partner, Scotty Flamingo, and boy, were they celebrating when they left here after Bert Prentice interfered in the match. They did get the victory here today, but they will be going against the Moondogs and Richard Lee, and as you correctly pointed out a little bit earlier, maybe a chair, too, Monday night with the tag titles on the line at the Mid-South Coliseum. Jeff Jarrett and Big Boss Man, his partner, going against the Big Harlem Knights. And I am even more impressed after seeing the Harlem Knights in action here today than I was when this day started. As we talked about, they're, of course, huge. They weigh 850 pounds total, but can you, Jeff Jarrett said, never seen guys that big move that way in a wrestling ring. One of them weighs 525 pounds, and a couple of the moves that he put on his opponents here today were just impressive. Like them or not, you have to be very impressed with this Harlem Knights team. They will be going against Jeff Jarrett and Big Boss Man in the main event Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Make your plans right now to be right there at ringside. It is going to be a big night there. We will check our time. We'll be back with you with some more from the USWA after this. A good day for Eddie Gilbert, as he said when he was out here. We got things going. We were really looking forward to a match. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert starting the show here today, and his opponent never even made it to the ring, as a matter of fact, before Bert Prentice and a Rock and Roll Phantom came out here, insisted that they were gonna perform. Yeah, the achy breaky heart. I can't believe this guy thinks that anybody is buying into the fact that that's his song. And look at this. He started over in the corner with Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah.
Eddie let him get away with that for a minute, but then all of a sudden he couldn't take it anymore, and he just nailed him. Keep in mind that, you know, Bert Prentice was out here interfering to begin with. He wasn't supposed to be here. It was supposed to be a match. Eddie patiently waited, and that was okay. He was just going to let him finish. But then when Bert Prentice came over to the corner and got in his face about the whole thing, then it was Eddie decided to take things into his own hands.
Yeah,
but when Phantom hit him with that guitar, it popped his forehead open. It cut him open, but didn't stop Eddie altogether. Eddie came back out here with fire in his eyes and in his hands too. Take a look as the Rock and Roll Phantom was in a match. He was in a match against young Todd Johnson, and really was firmly in control of the whole thing, and probably should already have made a pin and gotten out. Eddie throws the fire looking for the Phantom, and unfortunately, look, see, it kind of rolls off the shoulder there, not of the Phantom, but of Todd Johnson. And Todd is going to be okay, but, you know, Eddie was looking for Rock and Roll Phantom there, and the fire missed. He does get a shot in at Bert Prentice on the way out of there, but really didn't get back to Rock and Roll Phantom the way he would like to have gotten to him here today. But coming up this week, he will have the chance. There is no doubt about that.
Yes,
we had other action here today too. We had that huge Harlem Knights team.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They just dominated T.D. Steele and Tim Sadler in there. The Harlem Knights, total weight 850 pounds. These guys are big, but they've got Big Boss Man and Jeff Jarrett Monday night.
That's right.
Coliseum.
And the new team of Brian Christopher, Scotty Flamingo. Look like they might work pretty well together. Well, I tell you what, we'll be back next week working together. We hope you'll join us. Till then, for Corey Macklin, I'm Dave Brown. So long, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.